Hello, and welcome to Building Your T-Shirt Empire. My name is Cole, and with me, as always, is Gavin. Gavin, how you doing? This is our first show since the ISS show. Are you back in the normal swing of things?
I am doing good. After ISS, I was exhausted. I was really
Yeah.
exhausted. I had to take a whole day just to get my body back and my mind back. ISS was that crazy. So I'm good. I'm good right now.
Yeah, Joni's voice was messed up for like 48 hours. She kept talking so much that she couldn't talk when she was back. It was great. It was
Yeah.
it was amazing to see how many people you would run into at that show. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, I got to go do this thing. And then before you'd get to the thing, you'd hit another person.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you too. It was pretty nonstop.
So hey man, you are an industry celebrity. That's what that is.
It was a lot of people that I ended up knowing. It was bizarre to see everyone that I actually realized I knew. So the class ended up going really well. We had 70 plus people in your and my systems class. And I was really happy with it. I felt like we had changed it enough that some of the kinks were ironed out. What did you think about the class?
Yeah. So I think our class, every time we do it, it gets better and better. Like just from the speaker's point of view, we ironed out a few things. Delivery was a lot better, so that means I'm sure the audience got so much from it. I think that class, man, is like a major steal. Like if I had attended that class when I was starting out, that thing would have changed the game for me completely, because I would have gotten to see how somebody just like run their shop. And that's what we're doing with this class. Is like we're literally open up our business and let you guys like take a peek.
Yeah, and I got some people who followed up after asking for like our different zaps and our different systems, and I didn't really have a way to functionally provide them. So if people are interested in some sort of breakout that we could maybe package, then we could figure out how to offer that where you could implement the same zaps inside of your business. So yeah, let me know in the comments if that's worth putting together, because it might be just kind of a tool set that we could start offering to people.
Yeah, I so you had a panel that you did, and that panel, honestly, I've been going to the shows for the past however long, let's just say 9 years, 8, 9 years. And when I peeked into your class, it was the busiest class I've ever seen. Like as far as attendees, and the room was filled. So like, really great job on that. Like, how was that for you?
It was insane because I had way too good of guests. So we had Steven and Bruce, which everyone knows from their podcast. And then also, Steven owns Campus Inc. And Bruce literally built Printavo from the ground up. We had Matt Marcotte, who was turning into like the AI king. Yeah. So he was amazing to listen to, because he told me a little bit later on, he'll like get off from his normal day job at Inktavo and then just be up till 1 or 2 a.m. messing with the AI, trying to push it and break it. And his screen print GPT tool, which is now being funded by the industry, is available to everyone. And he's basically training it on as much data as the industry has, so that he can just push it to the absolute limit and allow anyone to ask it any question about printing t-shirts. Yeah. So having him on the panel was awesome. We also had Travis, and we had John Ladd from Terminus Tees. Yeah. And John's really cool because the way he handles marketing is so automated that his customers always feel like they're having a personal experience without necessarily having to have individual customer service people remember to contact them. And so listen to how he uses tools like HubSpot to automate marketing and not just like get around to a weekly email newsletter. Was really impressive, because he's giving his customers like a flow and a experience that most of us are not giving them.
Yeah. Dude, imagine like taking all the brains of those people and putting them in one brain. You just have like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, we could have done 3 hours. Like we were barely touching Q&A when they told us the time was up.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it again in Atlantic City. It'll be a slightly different group. It sounds like Matt is going to be back. And then besides that, we're finalizing the new people that are going to be there.
Yeah.
But AI and automation, like everyone wants to talk about it. And there's so much that could happen or won't happen or whatever, that
Yeah.
it's an endless topic right now. And everyone's trying to figure out what they can do with it. Even if it's a small shop, there's tools that will just make you more productive every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on that. You probably broke the record for the most attended class ever. Yeah, unofficially.
Yeah, well, they told me that there was 130 sold tickets that were single tickets, but then there's the people that get the all weekend pass, and those people I don't know the numbers on. So it was definitely more than the 130 that paid for the single pass, and then
Yeah,
we had no chairs. Like the room was out of chairs.
the room was.
It was crazy.
It was good. It was good. That's awesome, man. So while at the show was busy, but there was a lot of new stuff at the show. New equipment, new products, just new stuff. What did you see at the show that you want to talk about that caught your attention and that the people should know about?
Well, I think the thing that is most interesting to screen printers, since we're all kind of got the threat of DTF hanging over us, or the opportunity, however you want to see it.
Yeah.
The main thing that I was interested in was the Rock Impress, because it's a carousel heat press for DTF transfers. So you're loading and unloading the same way you're used to with screen printing, but now you're able to do 400 plus DTFs in an hour. And you're doing this on the same kind of carousel that you're already buying from Rock for your screen printing. So doing that kind of high output DTF really changes the game on what you would even offer as a minimum. We recently did a quote for 1,000 tote bags, and on 1,000 tote bags, it was going to cost me like 71 cents for the transfers, and then I would heat press them, or it was going to cost me the labor to set up very difficult, like 6-7 color detailed designs. And right now I'm on the edge. Like I might just order these as transfer, even though it's 1,000 units. So it'll be interesting to see how people start to implement these different heat presses. But the other thing that was basically there first, and in a lot of ways is why the Impress was kind of invented, is the Stampinator. And the Stampinator had what I thought was a very cool idea, which was a manual Stampinator.
Yeah.
This allows you to use the Stampinator as either something on your manual press that you use to just smooth your prints out or cut down the fibrillation on the fabric, or you could actually use this manually as a heat press where you're loading the DTF, spinning it over to the Stampinator, loading another one while it's being heat pressed, and then doing a fairly rapid heat pressing process on a manual or even on an automatic because it's a standalone unit. At the show, I was told it was $7,000, but here's what's crazy. The manual Stampinator, as of today, is $1,000.
Whoa.
So I don't know if people are investing in the bigger stuff, and so Stampinator needs to clearance this or what, but to see that kind of a price drop is crazy. And I'm really tempted now. For $1,000, it's like, well, now it's cheaper than me grabbing like, a Stahl's heat press. What do you think is going to happen with these kind of competing products?
Yeah. So the equipment manufacturers have to adapt because the market is shifting very fast, like to this DTF thing. I mean, it makes sense. It's just so easy. The Impress, I was impressed by the Impress, right?
But I think it's still $50,000.
Oh wow, I did not know the price.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but it takes up it doesn't take up a lot of space in your shop, and just to be able to like produce DTF at that speed is like it literally could like take your business from a traditional screen printing business into like digital, like just like that, just by being able to produce that speed. So I think on the manufacturing or the manufacturer side, it's the right move. It is demanded by market right now and also by shops because uh, you're gonna be out of business if you're not adapting. Like honestly, that's just how I feel. If you're not adapting this wave of digital and DTF in your business, um, you may not be diverse enough in your business. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on in the show, but DTF was just taking over.
Yeah.
In the blank side of things, do you have any updates on that Gildan story? Because it feels like there's never any resolution to it.
Yeah. So, just a quick recap for the folks that hasn't been following. So, Gildan, back in December, they made a move to change their CEO. So their CEO was working with them for 20 years, and the CEO got fired, and they replaced the CEO with a new person. That then, in the meantime, they had an interim CEO, but the CEO like was contesting the firing, saying that firing was not just. He felt that it wasn't done properly, and the CEO went pretty much on a campaign to recruit a lot of just investment companies that was investing in Gildan to support his cause, and these investment companies did agree to support his cause. So they've been putting a lot of pressure on Gildan, on the board of directors of Gildan, to like reverse the decision that they made to fire him. So that that's a quick summary of what happened. But here's the latest thing that's going on with that, right? So one of the investors, their name is Browning West. They've been pushing back a lot on the share on the board to have a meeting, but the board has been resistant. But the board has now agreed to have the meeting, and it is set for May the 28th, coming up soon. The purpose of this meeting is for them to reverse the decision. But here's what Gildan did, though. Gildan had a CEO that they was gonna. They had an interim CEO, but they had selected a new CEO that was gonna start at a later date. Gildan moved the date forward to start the new CEO, so the new CEO has already started. So that way, Gildan could like lock in their position, or at least the board could lock in their position and give them more leverage. The May 28th meeting, Browning West is seeking to replace majority of the board. So think about it. You go into a meeting with the board where you're looking to replace what's going to happen, right? So that's what's going to happen next. So we'll continue to watch this to see what's going on, to see how this all plays out. It's been very, very public. There's been letters going back and forth. There's been a lot of media covering this. And Gildan was a major player in the trade show that we came into. So they had a big presence there. So it was, even though all this is going on, the company's still operating and they still selling t-shirts.
I think they need Dylan and Andy to get involved. That's the secret. I saw them working with Gildan, so they need to get Dylan and Andy in there. Have them just sort it out. Those guys will know what to do. So in NFL news, they're cracking down right now on counterfeiters really hard, including shutting down the D Spot, which is in Roseville outside of Detroit. The D Spot was selling counterfeit NFL endorsed Detroit Lions merch. And, you figure this is going to happen. But also right now, like the millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in merch that's getting moved by the Lions is crazy. And so they want to keep every dollar of it, and they don't want a random print shop grabbing an extra $20 a hoodie selling bad stuff. I personally think it's good. There's a reason people have licenses, and there's a reason people want to protect their brands. But also you feel bad for the D Spot because they made an example of it out of this shop that's like 1,100 square foot outside of Detroit. I mean, this is not like a thriving business. So it feels bad for them. And I'm sure it'll wreck them or at least put them back, like a whole year if they do survive it. But what do you think about the counterfeit merch right now?
Yes, always. I remember when I was young and when the Dolphin used to do good, guys just go around and just selling stuff out of the trunk of their car, and
Totally.
everybody knew what was happening. So
Mm-hmm.
that story just kind of brought me back to like, oh, okay, that's how this works. It's it's how, you know. So whenever there's energy around, it just creates the perfect opportunity for somebody to make quick buck. And there's no a brand that's more popular in the U.S. than say football and NFL football. I think we did a story a few weeks ago where we talked about how the NFL is literally trying to lock in the online space where they're trying to like kick out all these smaller players
Mm-hmm.
through like licensing agreements that they have
Fanatics.
with
Fanatics
Fanatics.
basically locked down every team.
Exactly. So part of me is rooting for the little guy,
For
right?
this one dude in his little shop hustling 1,000 Detroit Lions shirts.
Yeah,
Well, he
like
doesn't have. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have to do it much longer since they lost. So, I
yeah,
mean, now we've got 49ers Chiefs going into the Super Bowl, which is a perfect segue to the most important woman in the NFL, Taylor Swift. Tell us what happened with Taylor Swift merch.
yeah. All right. So Taylor Swift runs the world, right? Let me say that
Mm-hmm.
again. Taylor Swift is the queen of the world, right? Like everybody know who Taylor Swift is. And if you watch any football game, everybody's just kind of sick of the NFL and Taylor Swift right now, just because NFL is riding the wave. But there's for screen printers. So if you go to a Taylor Swift concert and you are a VIP at one of the Taylor Swift concert, you get a package, and this package includes the ticket. It includes some merch. It includes a tote bag. But there's been some problem in Taylor Swift world. So the problem that happened was in this package, there was a lot of typos in like the tickets. There was
Oh, really?
typos on the merch, right?
Yeah.
There was like, so whoever was doing it just wasn't going through proper quality control. So a lot of like fans that's buying this VIP ticket, and the VIP ticket, here's a comment from somebody. Hey, I paid a lot of money for my VIP seat and box. It sucks that we didn't get a city specific poster, but it get worse. We just were shoved with 2023 leftovers keepsake tickets. How is that okay? Right. So instead of the ticket saying 2024, it says 2023. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
the merch saying the proper city on it, the merch had a different city name. Right. So it's crazy. Like there's no good quality control that was happening within that whole thing for such a famous person.
I
What do you
wonder
think
who
about
is
this?
in charge of that because that those tour jobs are a real nightmare. We've kind of touched like the tour merch world, but we're certainly not big in it. And it is so difficult because you'll get a call when the show lets out that the merch in a certain graphic, a certain size has run out, and they have another show in 48 hours. So,
Mm,
they have like a Thursday night show, a Friday night, a Saturday night. They'll hit 2 or 3 nights in one city at one stop. And you're supposed to somehow re up those gift stores over and over. And then, besides the fact that you're trying to re up it quickly, in this situation, you probably have a ton of leftover inventory that you're trying to
yeah.
figure out what to do with. So somebody was like, you know what? Let's just empty this box tonight and put it in the gift bags because there's way too much of it and we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but I'm not surprised. At least they got something considering some of the other merch companies going down. But yeah, it's a hard business.
It is, and but if you look at it from the fan point of view, some of those tickets they cost over $1,000 just to get one of those VIP thing.
Yeah,
So think
crazy.
about you paying that much money and you got something that's expired or outdated or with the wrong city name printed on it. How do you
Yeah,
feel
it's
about that?
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I would bet that the print shop got paid $12 for that VIP bag, depending on what was in it. And then it gets turned into this massive markup. I'm always surprised by the brands that we've seen where they're going to sell a $90 hoodie or they're going to do a $45 t-shirt and then they beat you up on a $1.25 printing price. And
Yeah.
it's like your guys' margin is like 85%, but yet you're going to beat up the print shop side and ignore the fact that like there's all these people having a massive margin on the front end. So I don't know. It's hard. It's probably not the print shop's fault at all. Most likely there's
Yeah.
a merch manager guy somewhere in there that's an agent, and he just blatantly made some decisions where he's like, oh, no one will notice. And now there's articles being written about it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, you're gonna get blasted on social media.
Yeah.
You will.
So speaking of fads, Stanley, which I've just seen take over the entire cup market recently, and also is doing really well in the promo space. A lot of people are now pushing Stanley collaborations in their promotional emails as something that you can offer to your customers. Because right now you can get Stanleys and decorate them. So plenty of people in the promo product space are trying to jump on the Stanley train, and it turns out they have lead in them. So some TikTokers went viral putting out this information that if you test your Stanley with lead strips, it'll actually show that there's lead. And after it getting more and more viral that this was a thing, Stanley came out and admitted, yes, there is lead in it, but it's supposedly safe because it's underneath the stainless steel. Meanwhile, if you scratch through the stainless steel, it's no longer protected. So
Wow.
people are saying, like, what's really going on? Are we pretending we're healthy with our 40 ounces of water, but really just drinking lead water every day?
Oh,
And imagine being on that roller coaster of being in the company. Like, you're in the company, you're doing 70 something million, I heard the year before. The guy from Crocs comes in, they go insane. They do 600 million plus in sales. And now all of a sudden, you have this backlash where all these people that bought it are like, I can't drink your death cup. And so it's just been like a psycho ride for this one stupid product that just is putting water in a cup. Like, that's all it is. It's water in a cup. And so, yeah, if you're a promotional products company, just be aware you could get some backlash now for the thing that you were offering a week ago as the hottest product on the market.
yeah.
And so there's going to have to be some sort of good answer for the lead question.
Yeah.
Stanley says it's not a real issue and it's perfectly safe, but also brands like Yeti do have no lead in them. So there's, a brand like Yeti is just laughing because they don't have to defend this whatsoever. They're just 100% stainless steel.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about? I remember there was a brand um, that had a major debacle. I'm not sure if you remember this Chipotle, the food,
Uh-huh.
the restaurant had a major debacle, and it almost just took them out. But because they handle it like so well, it took the company to like the next level, and you saw Chipotle in everywhere you went. This is like, I almost feel this is that moment for this company where if they handle this properly, it's like going to propel them to next level. Or if they mess up like the management, the PR, and the response is going to just destroy them. That's
Well, I
what I'm
mean,
thinking right now.
to their credit, like, they admitted that there is lead, but then they explained how it's protected. So they're not like doing a cover up or dodging questions, but it certainly isn't the look they were going for. So we'll see if they can stay a hot product. Normally, when things are super trendy like this, there's a backlash just because people start making fun of the trend.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long they're going to be able to sell $45 cups, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I think it could be just that. I think it could be, you get different energies, man, and usually the negative energy is gonna win the positive. Like they was
Yeah.
riding such a good wave, so somebody had to go out there and just say something and do something.
Yep. So how's it going inside of Steps? Are you guys seeing a pickup in sales?
Yeah, so I think the Long Beach show, just using the little bit of history that we have, the Long Beach show is that time where it goes from like that dead season to okay, here we go again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because before the start of January, it was like, okay, like this thing is slow right now. What's going on? And a lot of the conversation I was having with a lot of shop owners, they was just feeling very nervous. A lot of shop owners was just nervous about their outlook in their business. Like, even though most shop owners prep themselves for a slowdown, this year was a lot. It felt a lot slower than years past. So a lot of our shops they just started getting nervous, and once you start hearing all that, that goes in your brain too.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, what's going on? So, but after we had a really good show, talked to people there. But even if we didn't go, I feel like even if we didn't go to the show, I just started seeing just a natural, just like the orders coming back again.
Yep.
So we had a good moment right now.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of coming back to life. We're getting more quotes, more people talking, more people interested in like general projects. So it seems like by March, everyone will be completely slammed.
Yeah.
Um, we're just kind of like still doing that thing where it's like, oh, yeah, we're quoting this, but I need it February 25th. And you're like, okay, well, we can definitely do that. So, yeah, it's good to see that everyone's kind of waking up and it's not like the Armageddon that people thought it was.
Yeah. How do you feel about Sure Agency right now?
I mean, we're not slammed, that's for sure. But we've got like stuff coming in. We've got orders running. We've got like some part timers who are getting hours. So there's work to do, and it's fine. But it's still January.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be by March, April. We're gonna end up with us hiring additional part timers. Our current part timers will probably just be told to work all the time.
Yeah.
So it'll get busier, but at least it's not as bad as it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like it was just a seasonal lull.
Yeah. And that story you said right there is like, it's confident to be, it feels confident to be able to say that story because you kind of know what the road ahead will look like. So a lot of businesses, they just cannot see that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're in your first year or two or something,
Yeah.
and especially when you see like a seasonal slam. So you're killing it in October, November, and you've got all these hoodie sales, and then the hoodie sales inflate your gross because even though your gross kind of doesn't matter because it's just cost of goods, you're seeing those like $18 hoodies leave the door, and you're like, man, we just did a $6,000 invoice, a $10,000 invoice. Then you start going back into t-shirt land and you're like, oh, it's a $4,000 invoice. Meanwhile, your printing cost was identical on both.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you had a better margin on the blank depending on the deal you made, but for the most part, like you did the same amount of units in printing. You just got excited about those gross numbers.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. All right.
All right. Well, we're going to head out. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your mom about us. And have a good week. Bye.
Peace.